Welcome to Reader's Guide to Chaos. I'm Hiya.
I'm Vama.
I'm Shreeya.
And I'm Rajvi.
Unfortunately, today we aren't going to be discussing our book of the month, which was Milk Teeth. As it turns out, all of the people who were seeking to read the book couldn't find it any of the bookstores nearby. Like quite literally, I tried to place an order on Amazon and it was sold out everywhere. So we decided to change the book of the month to one of our childhood favorites, Matilda. Well, at least mine. So would any of you like to share initial thoughts about the book or how you feel about it?
Matilda for me was a very amazing book. I actually discovered Roald Dahl from that book, and I'm a big fan now. Yeah, I read it because my brother bought it in 8th grade, and then I just kind of got interested and I read it. It was pretty fun, and I love the way he has spun this story. It can also be read by people that are, teenagers, and it doesn't feel boring.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, the book was also bought for me by my older sister, and it was the first book I actually enjoyed reading. So after that, I went into a whole Roald Dahl spree where I read like 7-10 books of his.
I read all of his books. Yeah, it was really like a slippery slope.
I think we have very similar journeys because it was my first Roald Dahl too, and then I too did go on a spree because after that I read The Magic Finger, S.O. Trot, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, although I couldn't finish that one. So that's
I mean, I was introduced by my cousin because she was a huge fanatic. Like she even like visited his old house and stuff. So she she brought me back a book, and I mean, I think that and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Those are my only favorites. I mean, I haven't read too much of his like work, but classics.
But even Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda both have like really well done movies too.
Yeah, but I feel like in Matilda they definitely kind of changed the whole story. Like especially in the middle, the whole thing with going to Miss Trunchbull's house and everything that did not happen. But the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing was almost perfectly done.
Yeah, and even like the illustrations and like the setting and everything, it was just so perfect. Like you need to have a shitload of candy with you and watch it. That's like the perfect movie night.
Yeah, definitely. I used to love that movie when I was younger.
Yeah, like I got that concept from one of the Gilmore Girls episodes. Like you eat a shitload of junk food and watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
So good.
Okay, so on to the next question. What was your favorite part about the book?
I think my favorite part was like right at the end when she asks her teacher to adopt her. And it was like she's leaving her toxic family who doesn't like value her in their like entire system. It's like she's taking a step because she is a very smart person and she needs to be recognized as like what she is, who she is, and her teacher does that. And it felt like heartwarming that she finally finds her place. She's she got out of that toxic environment and she's now in a better place. So
I think my favorite parts were when Roald Dahl wrote all about how her father's business was just based on a lot of fooling people, and also Miss Trunchbull's various punishments and her whole persona. Like I feel like you can really see his creativity in those parts.
I agree. Like, I don't have a favorite part per se, but Miss Trunchbull's persona like really stands out. And I still remember like she threw a girl with pigtails off the class, and that was so hilarious. She made someone eat an entire huge chocolate cake because she ate their cake. It was just so creative and out of the world that it made you laugh.
Yeah, I really loved when she Matilda telekinetically raised that piece of chalk and wrote Miss Trunchbull's first name, and like she completely freaked out. So I guess that was fun.
I guess that's the thing. Like, otherwise, in another novel, you would not believe that. But just because this novel was so engaging, you might look past it and be like, oh, what happens next?
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you're like barely 10 years old.
Then you're like, the world's magic.
Yeah. Which sadly isn't true.
Yes.
And now we read Macbeth.
Yes. I wonder what Matilda thought of Macbeth. Okay. So, what was your least favorite part about the book?
I kind of didn't have a least favorite part. Like the whole book was just
Hmm.
very well paced and it
Yeah.
didn't feel boring at any point of time. I didn't feel like he was putting in details just to put them in. They always had like a meaning behind it.
True.
So
Yeah, like I don't have a least favorite part either, but I definitely didn't like it when when her family was mean to her. So I guess that one.
I think my least favorite part was that she was sent, like Matilda was sent to a closet with like the spikes and stuff, and like, okay, I get that you have other kinds of punishment like feeding a kid an entire cake, but this is just wrong. There's no explanation to this. There's no way you can actually defend this. This is just wrong. I think that was like, I hated that part.
yeah, it is definitely bad.
Yeah. Even like how neglectful they were of her.
Yeah.
Even though she was this completely amazing person.
Oh, you know what else I love? How she played pranks on her dad. That was the best. Oh, she
Like gluing the hat to his head.
yeah, and oh my god, she made his hair go purple once. Love to do that sometimes.
Yeah. And she got away with it because they were also like so astounded. They were like, who did this? And they never really thought much of her, so it never really crossed their minds.
Yeah, it was good.
So personally, I don't remember the book a lot. So would you like, do you remember it, or would you consider rereading it? If not, why?
I would consider rereading it. It's kind of like one of my comfort books. So I go back to it a lot and I remember a lot because I go back to it a lot.
I mean, there was a point in time where I used to read it like over and over and over again, to the point where my book actually tore and someone had to buy me a new one. But I think right now, if I read it, I think, I mean, it's a good book, but I wouldn't keep reading it. It's like a read like one time and then you're like, wow, that was a really good story. And then you're just like, okay, moving on.
I haven't read it in a really long time, so I probably would read it, but I wouldn't overdo it.
I have thought about rereading it, but I don't think I want to because I have like a lot of fond memories about it. So I'd rather not ruin it and let it be nostalgic.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
Do you guys have, so if you have read it more times, or if you haven't, do you have any lingering questions about the book, or like what could have happened, or what did happen, or what did not happen?
I have like one question. Like, you know how in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like right after that, they have like Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, and Roald Dahl was writing another like White House related thing. And so there was a continuation to that. I would want to read a continuation to Matilda, like how her life with her teacher, I think her name was Miss Honey, like how that was, or like after that, how did her powers progress? Did she lose her powers? Did she still use them? She did, like, what was her life like after that? I think that would be interesting. If Roald Dahl would have written it, then I would have read it.
I'd have read it too. Like kind of like an epilogue.
Yeah.
Just like perfectly balance the thing after.
Yeah, I do wonder what she's doing now, But another question I have is she really her supposed father's daughter? Because it doesn't add up. They need to
He
put
was
the
good at fooling people though.
yeah. And I don't know, but I think with her mother's character, it is plausible.
Definitely plausible, but I mean, could be. Never thought about it that way. Never.
I have a hard time believing that she was the real and not adopted daughters.
Yeah, but maybe it could be just because how irresponsible they are. She feels like a somewhat pressure to be a certain way, to like pick up the uh to like to replace them or to like do their work or sort of. Okay, then I guess, do you think this book is overrated or underrated?
I think it's perfectly rated.
You stole my thoughts. I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Like no one is like, oh my god, this is so amazing, you have to read it, it changed my life. And no one is like, this book would never recommend it. So it's like just very balanced. Like, yeah, sure, read it.
It's like a feel-good book.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So then who would you recommend this book most to read?
My younger cousins, they need reading. They need this book. They need to learn not to watch Coco Melon.
Same, but I guess I would recommend to Ajay sir. I'd be like, give books like this.
I was going to say that. Recommend it to our English teacher. Please don't give us Their Eyes Are Watching God. Give me something like Matilda, please.
I know. And okay, you can really analyze the book. Like there's a lot of potential.
There are global issues connected to this.
Definitely.
Parental negligence.
Yes.
And abuse at school.
A lot of things. We actually did this book in 8th grade. Like it was in our course. So yeah.
See, screw Their Eyes Were Watching God and Shakespeare.
Screw.
Let's study Matilda.
And Macbeth. Like no, just no.
Hashtag Matilda is best.
Oh, we also have to read this book called Gona by Premchand. So excited.
That's
Never heard of it.
I read like the first like 5 sentences and like
I
what?
know it's gonna be bad. Premchand wrote it. He lived in the 1950s. And he was a Hindi writer in
Exactly.
India.
It's a translated book. Plus, I think Ajay said at one point even told us it's a very problematic book. So if you have problems with like certain kind of issues, and you're not gonna like this book. And I'm
Who
like,
doesn't
I already
have problems with those issues anymore? Like what world does he live in now? Like I think at this point all of the people would like definitely not like it.
But wait, it's problematic in what sense? I haven't read it or no.
Which way?
I haven't read it either, but I think Sir had told us once, like when he was telling us about all the books, he was like, this one is it has a lot of issues to it, and like when you read it, you're gonna feel a strong sense like against it. And I'm like, I already don't like this book.
Yeah, I mean you can kind of see it. It's written by a traditional Indian male in the 1950s. So like you can't really expect it to be very.
Oh, it's about the socio-economic deprivation and exploitation of poor people. Oh, this is the writer that Jayashree ma'am talks about in Hindi class. I'm just realizing this now.
Everyone talks about Premchand. He's like amazing in Hindi.
But also problematic.
Very.
Subtext ignored.
Definitely ignored.
Okay. So next, let's get on to the next question. So if you could trade places with a character, which one would it be and why?
I feel like I trade places with Miss Trunchbull because she had like so much power, you know. Like, but I wouldn't be her.
Yeah.
I
It would
think
be nice to observe
Yeah.
her.
I think
Like
just
try to improve on what she did.
Yeah.
I think just for the thrill of it, I want to be the girl that she pulled by the pigtails and threw out the class. I
Yeah,
wonder
very
how
thrilling.
cool that felt. Like you were
You
pulled by the
might
pigtails. Sure, my hair hurt, but I was thrown outside the school. That's a story I can tell my kids. I was thrown outside the school
And
with
when
my
you
hair.
and when you shape shift again, your hair won't be damaged.
Oh my god, does anyone remember Harriet, the one who like pranked Mr. Trunchbull a couple of
Oh,
times?
with the toads and stuff.
In
And
her
the
water.
yeah, and the itching powder, that was so good.
I would like to trade places with her. Be the
Yeah.
prankster for a
So
change.
gutsy.
I guess I would want to be, I don't know. I think maybe Matilda's brother or mother and make things easier for her by like changing things a little bit and going away.
But I'll just ask a question. Character development without conflict in the plot. You need the conflict in the plot. You need the family to be problematic for Matilda to be like, okay, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna be smart now.
I put poison in tea. Parents die. Matilda. Problem. Conflict.
Do you think Matilda has like trauma which she's gonna be talking about to her future therapist?
Yeah.
Yeah. The future therapist is gonna have a lot to
In a
unpack.
kid way, we never thought about it, but like at this point, I feel like she definitely have trauma.
I'd like to be her future therapist.
Yeah.
Okay, so where should we start? She's like, my problematic childhood. Oh, how my parents didn't know I existed until I asked them to give me up.
And then they were really happy to do that.
Also, is it just me, or do you guys feel like Matilda, because of the way she is with her parents, like we talked about now, has a certain superiority complex? Like, or will grow to have?
She
I
might
think-
grow to have.
Probably.
Because I think she will, because she's always been the smartest one around. And like the odds are, she'll grow up, she'll go to a good college. Even in the fictional world of Roald Dahl, it is very plausible, and she might find people smarter than her. I think that might also be like a lot of internal
Possible.
crisis for her to be outsmarted.
It may have an
Has anyone
adverse effect on her because she's conditioned to be the smartest one, and when that changes, she may not be able to deal with that.
has anyone seen The Big Bang Theory?
Yeah,
I feel like she'd be Sheldon.
Yeah.
she would. But I think
I love the Big Bang.
I think she'd be more likable than Sheldon.
Yeah, definitely. Not with the idiosyncrasies, but like Sheldon does.
yeah. I can just imagine like Matilda writing in her college apps that I can move chalk with my eyes.
And then
Like,
they
the
being
college
like,
people do.
is this girl catfishing us?
What? What?
That is actually very possible because people just might not believe, like, how stupid does she think we are? But it might
She
be
applies
true.
to Harvard with her admissions essay going, I move chalk with my eyes. And then, do you think we're
But-
idiots?
But then it's also a Roald Dahl world, so you can never tell. There's a great glass elevator, for God's sake.
How do you feel about a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda crossover?
Oh, it was so good. Especially Willy Wonka and Matilda
Yeah.
pouring over, like making new formulas for stuff and everything.
I don't know. I just want to see
Good.
Matilda with the Oompa Loompas.
Because she's tiny.
No, maybe she could move the Oompa Loompas like the chalk.
No.
I would pay to see an interaction between
Yeah,
them.
pay a lot of
Matilda would be
money.
more of like she'd start like testing those guys like, So are you guys, do you have like dwarfism, or like what part of the world are you from? And they'll be like, we're from this place. And you're like, that's not on the globe. I know for a fact. And like, no. I just want to see that.
Okay. So this is the best question. Are there any characters you would like to deliver a lecture to? If so, who? What would you say?
Her parents. A long lecture, but I feel like they would never listen. And Trunchbull would also not listen. So it's kind of not really helpful to lecture them, but I'd love to do it.
Yes, it would be fun.
Yeah.
You know what I would want? I would want the librarian to sit across them and talk to them about how brilliant she is, and as punishment, make them read books.
That is so smart.
No,
Like, you're punished to read this entire aisle by tomorrow, or else you're not
definitely.
leaving here.
Oh my god. And they should definitely like be banned from watching television.
Yes,
Like someone should enforce that.
That
definitely.
is severe, harsh punishment.
I think the person to lecture who it might actually work on would be her little, older brother, because he might be more impressionable than the parents because they're headstrong.
But then he is also spoiled, so and spoiled kids are kind of difficult.
There would also be a lot of tantrums.
Very a lot of I
But
hate
see,
spoiled kids.
that's where the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory should come in. Willy Wonka gives him a lecture and takes him to a factory where he ends up getting his doom because of his own
Yes.
actions.
Oh my god. Yes, yes, like the 5 other kids that didn't do it.
Yes.
I feel like Mike TV and this Michael guy might really go together. Like they yeah, they'd be friends. I just know him.
Yes. They would be friends and get each other killed.
Yeah, or never actually make anything of themselves.
Very plausible. Okay, so on this sweet note of Willy Wonka, let's end today's meeting. Thank you for watching. Please like and share.
And follow our Instagram.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.